and he has been traveling to many colleges in India. Recently, I think a decade back, Prabhuji started traveling in states, United States. Prabhuji goes in Australia and many other countries. So he has authored 27 books that explain the relevance of Vedic wisdom texts, including Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. He is author of the world's only daily blog on Bhagavad Gita, that is called GitaDaily.com, where he has written more than 4,000 articles on Gita. So on every shloka, you will find multiple articles and their relevance in our lives. He was also invited speaker at TEDx, World Peace Conference, UNESCO, Intel, Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, Stanford, and Princeton, Yale, Harvard, MIT, and Cambridge. So he gives every year he gives around 400 talks across 100 cities in 4 continents every year. So we are very happy to have Prabhuji with us here, and many of us when we were in Pune, we were studying. We were actually very much inspired by Prabhuji's lectures. I remember for me it was first time I heard in my first session which I attended in ISKCON in a temple that was of His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and it was very inspiring. So we would like to welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So all of us know the topic for today's session is how Gita reveals Krishna's love for us.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible to you? Yes. So, let's begin with some prayers. Om Jnana-Tasya Jnana-Vishana-Kaya Chakshuru-Vipakena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah Namah Om Vishnu-Padaya Krishna-Krishnaya Bhutale Shri-Pate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha-Shunyavadi Ashakti-Vishitarini Vancha-Kalpatarubyascha Kripasindhubhya-evacha Patinam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming today, and we'll discuss based on this verse in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll explain the meaning and then we'll recite the verse. Okay, it's not connecting. Oh. This is one of the concluding verses. So Krishna is speaking here, Sarva, everything that is Guhya has spoken, Guhya Dhamma. It's extremely, not extremely, but supremely confidential. Guhya Dhamma, Guhya. Guhya is as sweet as a deity. Sarva Guhya Dhamma, Guhya. Shuno, Arjuna, hear Arjuna, meaning these are Paramam Vachaha. These are my topmost words. Shuno meaning Paramam Vachaha. And Ishto's name, Ishto is here. You are literally, and now literally determined. Dudamati, that you will always be near to me, that I am determined to love you. That's what Krishna is saying. Ishto sine dudamati. Tato, therefore, Vakshami, I am speaking. Therefore, I am speaking this. Te for your benefit, I am speaking this. Tato Vakshami te Sarvagunyatamam bhuvya Shruve paramam vachana Ishtosi me dudamti Tato vakshami te hitam Sarvagunyatamam bhuvya Shruve paramam vachana Ishtosi me dudamti Tato vakshami te hitam. One last time, all of us together. Sarvagunyatanam bhuvyaha Shruve paramam vachana Ishtosi me dudamti Tato vakshami te hitam. So before we start, I would like to ask you, what do you think is the key message of the Bhagavad Gita? If one of your friends asks you, what is the Bhagavad Gita all about? So, what would you say? Yes? Okay, the Bhagavad Gita is about the purpose of life. Okay, that's true. We are considering what is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So one is the purpose of life. Anything else? Manual of life. Okay. Now, I am personally a little uncomfortable with the word manual because life is way too complicated to ever have any manual. Generally, when you have a manual, if you press this button, this will happen. Press this button, this will happen. So, life, it doesn't have a manual. Life is way too complicated. But the principle is true. The word I prefer is guidebook. It's a complicated life. Life is complicated, but there are some guiding principles that we get. So it's a guidebook for life. These are principles and other. Anything else? Okay, so it provides us knowledge of the Supreme. Okay, this raises the question, why should I know about the Supreme? Okay, I need some guide for my life. I need to know the purpose of life. Why do I need to know about the Supreme? Because we want life after life. Okay, this knowledge of the Supreme can give us liberation. And, okay, so, true. It's a good point. Anything else? So, then loudly. You want to speak something? Liberation. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the essence of Gita is this: came from God and we are meant to return to God. And that knowledge is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yes, please, thank you. Actual search. Okay, search for what exactly? Actual self. Okay. So, actual self means to say the real me. Who am I? Want to know that? Okay. Gita helps us do that. Let's do very much. Yes, Ines. Origin of how life started. So you know the origin of ourselves, of everything, including ourselves. Okay, true. Okay. Okay. We would say it's important to know right and wrong. Okay, so that we can do the right thing. We can know what is the right thing to do and we go forward that. Yes. So there are people say, what do you think is right for you, what I think is right for me. But is there something beyond that? And we want to know that. Yes. Thank you. Good point. Sorry? The Gita teaches us foundational principles of devotion. Okay. Let's look at this. I think it's true ultimately. Yes, Gita is talking. It concludes in that. For example, Sarvadhamma and the chase there. 2, 3 more answers. Yes, please. Get rid of all our fears. Okay, so live to, you can say, Atma Jnana, that is something similar to what was mentioned earlier, actual self. Whatever you do, you become free from fear. You prove to, you can say in today's language, you prove to yourself, prove to ourselves, who we really are. True, thank you. Okay. Give up attachment. De-attachment. Okay, de-attachment is detachment, you can say. Detachment from the mundane. Well, yes. Arjuna was confused because of attachment. Krishna guided him. Yes, we want to know answers. We all get number answers. Yes? Oh, okay. Oh, we have 2 minds. Okay. Okay, thank you. So you can say true vision of life, of reality. You can say beyond the Maya that is there in the world. Yes. One last answer, the mic behind. Whoever has mic, yes please. Sorry? Yes, the purpose of life. I think we had that mission right at the beginning. So you can say purpose of life so that we can attain perfection at the end. True. So thank you very much. And all that is spoken is true. We will try to discuss. We have to move on now. Thank you. So, can I have some water, please? Or is there already something? So, through in various ways, I'll take one particular perspective within which we'll try to understand these various points. See, let's start from the beginning. So, where is the Gita spoken? Where is it spoken? Kurukshetra. And to whom is it spoken? Yes. So, we can have these questions. Is the answer to where and to whom? So now we can say, why is it spoken? Specifically, confused. So what is this confusion about? It's about dharma. It is, he doesn't know what is the right thing to do. And he wants to know. So, pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha. So, we can look at the Gita. It can start from its starting grounding. Where does it start? So, if you see from this perspective, we can look at how the message grows. So we can say that, this is the Pandava army, and then this is the Kaurava army. And in this army, we have on a chariot, we have Krishna and we have Arjuna. And this is where we have, it's from 1.1 till 1.20. This is a description that Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya, that Arjuna blew his conch, the Krishna blew his conch, and then after that, as they were just ready to fight, at that time suddenly Arjuna has some other desire, and he says, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapayame Achyuta. Please get my chariot in between the two armies. So what happens is, the same two armies are here, and now Krishna and Arjuna are in the middle. And then it is described, so this is around 1.24, 25. So what happens here is, Krishna brings the chariot between the two armies, and then he says, Bhishma Drona Pramuktaha Sarvesham cha Mahekshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. So he says that there are Bhishma and there are Drona. You wanted to see them? Now see them. And when Arjuna sees them, at that time, he starts getting this question. Should I be fighting against them? So what is the point of, thank you. What is the point of fighting? These are my elders, and these are people who I respect and worship. How can I fight against them? And see, for all of us, in general, if we look at how we function, see, at the top, there is action. We do certain actions. Say, for example, right now I am speaking and you are hearing. Now, whenever we do any action, underlying that action is some, we could say, intention. Okay, why am I doing this? So, okay, you say, for example, now you come here because, say, you consider the Bhagavad Gita to be important. You want to learn the Bhagavad Gita. I am here because I consider the Bhagavad Gita's message to be important and I want to share it with others. So, underlying our actions are our intentions. Now, underlying our intentions are our conceptions. So, intention means this is what I want to do. Conception is this is important. So this is so right now you could have gone to a party, you could have been watching a movie, you could have been just at home, maybe just fooling around, just hanging around with your friends. But there's conception. Essentially, the conception refers to what is important, what matters. See, there are many things around us which are often competing for our attention, competing for our time. So, based on our conception, we decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and then we go and do it. So, you might have invited some friend to come here, but their conception is different. They say, I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in it, that's not very important for me. So, we all do our actions based on our conceptions. And what is important? Ultimately, this arises is what is real, what counts, what matters, what is real. So, we all get this question sometime or the other. Say, for example, if I'm hungry, then food is the most important reality for me. Without food, I die. But once I get food, after that, okay, I got my food. What next now? There's so many other things that are important. See, food is a reality that is important, but there are other realities also that are important. And in one sense, what is most important? So for Arjuna, this was the question. In one sense, when he was on the battlefield, on one side was his Kshatriya Dharma. Kshatriya Dharma means he's a warrior, and as a warrior, if he's following a Kshatriya Dharma, he should fight. And that was his understanding when he blew his conch shell and he was ready. But then, as he came in the middle of the battlefield, he was suddenly and forcefully reminded of another dharma. That was his Kula Dharma. He says that these are all my family members. So, these are all a part of my dynasty. I need to protect them. How can I kill them? So, if he's going to follow his Kula Dharma, he says, don't fight. I shouldn't be fighting. Now, this idea of Kula Dharma, in India, it's understood to be quite important. I spend a lot of time in the West. I try to share the message of the Gita in the West also. So, in the West, the idea of Kula, it is not cool. What is the idea of Kula dynasty? The people are very disconnected from their family, from their dynasty. Sometimes, in general, if you meet somebody in India, okay, what do you do? If you are meeting some students, what do your parents do? Where are you from? So in the West, it's actually considered not a very good question to ask. What do your parents do? Because sometimes people have 2 mothers and 3 fathers. And which mother and which father are you talking about? So often, the idea of parents that does not really evoke a very positive memory in people's minds. And that's why the idea, I'm not talking about entire West. In the West is also quite different in different parts of the world. So California is very different from Texas. California is very liberal and Texas is that we're quite conservative. So, but the point is that the idea of a duty to family, what to speak of duty to family, duty to dynasty, that is something which is not even thought of by people. But when, even if nowadays many of us may not live in a joint family, but we understand the importance of relatives. If somebody is my relative, then I have some duty toward them. So Arjuna is torn between two duties. And which duty is more important? Now, suppose there is a very upstanding, courageous, competent police person who has arrested many deadly criminals. And that police person is told that there is a dangerous criminal in that area, please go and arrest him. And he's extremely dangerous. If he tries to run, then shoot him at sight. And the police person gets there and he just sees the criminal and he says, stop, I'll shoot you. And the criminal starts running away. Police person takes his gun, is about to shoot, and the criminal, while running, slips and falls and rolls over. When he rolls over, he sees that that criminal is actually his long lost brother. And now, what should the criminal or police person do? Should he do his police duty and shoot? Or should he do his brother's duty and protect? It's not an easy decision, isn't it? Sometimes you might have some Bollywood or Tollywood or some movies where something like this is depicted. The sudden reveal that two people who are opponents are old friends, are all siblings or something like that. But at that, now in the case of Arjuna, it is not a sudden revelation. Oh, Bhishma and Drona, they're on the other side. He knew that. But at that particular point, when he came in the middle of the battlefield, it registered on him. Arjuna had fought against Bhishma and Drona and the Kaurava army before once. When was that? Yes, there was a battle that happened before the Kurukshetra war, and that was the Virata Yuddha. So if you consider the Kurukshetra battle, a few months before that, the Virat battle had happened. But there, while Arjuna had fought against them, Arjuna had no intention to kill them. At that time, Arjuna was also still hoping there could be a peaceful resolution. He just wanted to show them, you cannot take us for granted. We are still powerful. He wanted to basically teach them a lesson. But now in this war, one side was not going to go back alive. And that's why the gravity, the finality, the irreversibility of the battle registered within him. And that's what made him stop. Generally, whenever we do something, we all hope, okay, if this doesn't work out, I'll have a second chance. But now a war to death means there's going to be no do-over. There's going to be no second chances. And that led to the question, what is the right thing to do? What should I be doing? So that question led him to almost a paralysis. And it was when this paralysis happened that Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna's question is, what is really important? Is my Kshatriya Dharma important? Is my Kula Dharma important? See, whenever we do something, we all want to do something which is valuable. See, even when somebody says, if we ask somebody, what are you doing? Say, I'm wasting my time. Nobody says that. Even when we say, we may be watching a movie or we may be just chatting with our friends, we feel, yeah, that is some relaxation. I need some break. I need some rejuvenation. Nobody consciously does something which is a waste. Sometimes some people nobody knowingly wastes money. For example, time is like money, energy is like money. Sometimes some wealthy people, they may take some 500 $100 notes or a big pile of notes, and then we just burn the notes. What a stupid thing to do. But now they are wasting money, but they're not wasting money. Even by that, they're sending a message. Now, this is the amount of money I have, how wealthy I am. So, by that, nobody wants to consciously do something which is valueless, isn't it? Nobody wants to do that. So, here Arjuna is confused, and then Krishna guides him. So what is Krishna's guidance? I'll talk about this by contrasting what Krishna did for Arjuna and what Krishna did for Duryodhana. Our topic was the Gita reveals how Krishna loves everyone. Now at one level we know that Arjuna is a devotee. So Krishna loves Arjuna. But what does it mean practically? See, love is expressed in different ways. See, nowadays people may think the idea of love is usually associated with romantic love. That, yes, that is one kind of love. But ultimately, love is expressed through actions. If, say, a child comes back home and the child says, "Mummy, I'm hungry." And the mother says, "I love you." "Mummy, I'm hungry." "I love you." "I'm hungry." "I love you." Okay, if you love me, then what should you do? Provide me some food, isn't it? So, love, see, when there is hunger, love is expressed through the provision of food. Now, say if the same child is injured, the child is playing and the child falls down while playing, and there is injury. Child is bleeding. The child comes back, and maybe calls an older brother. "I'm hurt," and the older brother, "I love you." "I'm hurt. I love you." Well, then give me some bandage. Do something. I got an injury, isn't it? So when there is injury, then the love is expressed through offering some medicine. So love is an emotion in the heart, but that emotion has to be expressed through the appropriate action. Otherwise, that love just becomes meaningless. So similarly, say that if we are lost, if we are driving a car, we're going to meet a relative, and maybe our internet has gone, the GPS is not pointing us properly, and we are in the car, and we call our relative. "I'm lost." The relative says, "I love you." Okay. So then, if I'm lost, okay, you love me, I'm lost, I love you. Hell, if you're lost, what should happen? If you love me, then give me guidance, isn't it? Okay, if I'm lost, what should I do? Okay, I'm here. Should I go left? Should I go right? How should I come from here? So in different places, love is expressed in different ways. So now when we are lost, then love is expressed through guidance. But, there are two kinds of people. There are people who are lost, and there are two kinds of drunk people. Now, drinking is very common, especially in the Western world. In fact, there's one British author who wrote a book called "The Taste of Wine is the Proof that God Loves Us." That how could something so tasty as wine exist if God did not exist? So now their idea is that the taste of wine indicates that there is a loving God. Okay. Now, sometimes some people, if they drink too much,
So if they drink too much, they are still sober. In the sense that, okay, I've drunk a bit too much, then maybe I shouldn't drive myself. Drinking is bad, but drinking and driving is far worse. Because when I'm drinking, okay, I'm hurting myself. But when I'm drinking and driving, I'm hurting others. So hurting myself, you could say it's my freedom. Not a good thing to do, but everybody has some freedom. You can hurt yourself, but you can't hurt others. So people who are a little sober, when they are drunk, they understand that, okay, I'm drunk, maybe I shouldn't be driving. They may tell the bartender, can you call a cab for me? Yeah, sure. And then they drive by a cab back. Many times when kids go for a party, so if 6 kids are going for a party by car and there would be drinks over there, so they will tell one boy, okay, today is your day of tapasya. What is it? You are driving us, so you cannot drink today. Next time party, I'll do the tapasya. But there is some level of sobriety is there. But sometimes some people are so drunk that they're taken one after another after a drink. And the bartender tells them, sir, can I get a cab for you? I'll try. They can't even speak coherently, but they are confident. So there are some people who are drunk and they know they are drunk. And some people are so drunk that they don't even know they are drunk. So which is more dangerous? Second one. So at the start of the Gita, Arjuna was lost. And he knew he was lost. Now before the Gita was spoken, Krishna himself tried to go as a peace messenger. And he spoke to Duryodhan. Now Duryodhan also in one sense was lost. In the sense that he was about to take a wrong decision. But he was lost and he didn't know he was lost. He was so drunk that he didn't even know that he was drunk. So, see, in the world often there are two problems. The first problem is often the wise people who have some insight, some understanding of how to do things. The wise people, they are doubtful. Now, should I do this? Should I not do this? That is a problem. But quite often, the foolish people, that's a bigger problem, they are super confident. I know what to do. So Duryodhan was like that. He said, he was quite sure, I am going to fight. So I was talking here that when there is ignorance or when there is confusion, when we are lost, at that time love is expressed through giving guidance. So when Arjuna was lost, what happened is Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavad Gita gave him guidance. And what was the guidance that Krishna gave through the Bhagavad Gita? He said, we all have many dharmas, but then we have the para dharma. We have the supreme dharma. The word dharma has many meanings, but essentially it means harmony. Harmony means, say, if I'm going to drive on the road, I'm taking a bike or I'm driving a car, then I am a part of a system bigger than myself. I'm a part of the road transport system. Now, if I am going to be a part of something bigger than myself, then I have to be a harmonious part. That means I have to drive on the right side of the road. I have to follow the speed limit. I have to stop when there's a red signal. So in general, what happens is, if I'm an individual, each one of us is a part of something bigger than ourselves. And from that part, we get something and then we are expected to give something. Like if I'm part of the road transport system, what I get is the facility of the driving on the roads. The roads are there. I don't have to go cross country all the time. But what I have to give is, I have to follow the rules. Say for example, right now, you come here to be a part of this talk. Now, every one of you is quite confident that the person sitting next to you is not going to suddenly turn at you and punch you in the face. Now, is it possible? Well, anything is possible, isn't it? But it's extremely unlikely, isn't it? Because you understand that, okay, I'm a part of a classroom setting, I'm a part of a satsang setting, and there is a particular kind of behavior that is expected over here. So if somebody does that once, then next time they will not be allowed to come. So every place where we belong to something bigger than ourselves, we get something when we have that belonging, and we have to give something. So dharma is not just religion. Yes, the one meaning of dharma is religion, but dharma essentially means harmonious belonging. I belong to something bigger than myself. So how do I belong properly? So for example, if I belong to a family, then from the family I get certain things, I have to give certain things in return. I have to play my part in the family. If I belong to a country, then what happens is the country gives me certain facilities, and then I am expected to follow the rules of the country. I am expected to pay taxes and do certain things. So dharma basically means belonging. We all belong to some unit bigger than ourselves. And how do we belong properly? Even going back to the example of that police person. Now, for that police person is a part of a family. And the police person is also a part of the police force. Is belonging to two different things. And sometimes these two things can pull us in different directions. And that is when there is confusion. So what the Gita says is that if we consider we are individuals, there are many units we belong to. Now we may belong to a family. We may belong to a particular community. No. The community may be based on various factors. It may be a community based on profession, community based on region, whatever it is. We may belong to a particular country. So we all have different kinds of belongings. Now, these belongings are important for us. And they give us a sense of grounding. Who am I and what am I meant to do? But what the Gita says is, all these belongings are there. Ultimately, there is one ultimate whole that we belong to. And that is Krishna. That is God. That is the ultimate reality. So, we all ultimately belong to Krishna. All the bigger units that we are parts of, they are important. But they are ultimately sustained by Krishna. So for example, one of the most intimate acts of love, earlier when I talked about love, is when a mother has a newborn baby and the mother breastfeeds her baby. With her own body, she is sustaining her baby. That's definitely the mother's affection. But is it only the mother's affection? The mother does not do anything special to produce milk in her breasts. It is the same God who sent a child through her womb into the world. That same God has sent milk in her breasts. So when a baby is being fed, that is a mother's love, no doubt. but that is also God's love being expressed through the mother. So that means when a child, when the child is belonging to a part of the family, the mother is, this is my child. There's a love over there. But there is an immediate circle that we belong to, and there is also an ultimate circle that we belong to. Now the Independence Day is coming. Now we have the national anthem, we have the Vande Mataram. If you look at the history of how these songs were written, they were national songs, they're songs expressing national love, but it was not just national love. There is this spirit of wisdom where the nation is actually a manifestation of the ultimate reality. That there is an ultimate reality, and that ultimate reality manifests to us through our nationality. The nation gives us shelter. When I say go to America, at that time, one of the main teachings I think is that how we are spiritual beings, we are not our bodies. But when I'm at the immigration, when they ask, where have you come from? I can't say I'm a soul, I belong to the spiritual world. No, I had to give them my Indian passport at that point. Isn't it? So we acknowledge that we belong to particular circles, but there is an ultimate circle that we belong to also. That is Krishna. And normally we balance both the circles. So for example, if we consider our belonging, where do I belong to? I can look at any one immediate circle that I belong to. So I can say I belong to this particular family, I belong to this particular community, I belong to this particular nation. That's important. But then I could go to the other extreme, I can look at the pendulum and say, I belong to the ultimate circle. That I am a part of God. But the idea is, both of these are in one sense imbalanced. It is, the balance idea is, immediate points to the ultimate. That means I see my mother's love, I acknowledge my mother's love, but I also understand it is God who is loving me through my mother. I understand Bharat Mata is sacred, but what is Bharat Mata? It's a part of the earth. The earth is ultimately a part of existence. Existence is sustained by God. So we link the immediate with the ultimate. And that is the holistic vision. So if we focus only on the immediate, there's a problem. If we focus only on the ultimate, there also can be a problem. Because we don't just exist in this space. We exist somewhere on the earth in some circles. So when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna did, all we talk about how it gives the purpose of life, the guidebook for life. Krishna told Arjuna that you are thinking, you are confused what you should do. Are you a Kshatriya or are you a Kurunandana? He told Arjuna that you are actually something beyond both of them. You are an Atma, you are my part. And you are meant to serve me. And if you serve me, you will do good for everyone. You will do good for Bhishma and you will do good for Yudhishthira also. How? Because Bhishma is unfortunately on the side where he has to fight against Krishna, against virtue, against the side of Dharma. And now if you fight, he is a virtuous soul. You think you'll be killing him, but actually you'll simply be liberating his soul from the situation he's in. He'll be elevated, he will be liberated. So you are doing good to him also. So he gave Krishna gave Arjuna a bigger vision that the ultimate reality in this world is God's love for us. And through all our duties, what we are doing is, say, when we serve our country, when we serve our community, when we serve our family, when we do a duty according to a profession, yes, ultimately we are doing those things, but the ultimate way of doing it is to see this as a service to Krishna. As a student, why am I studying? It is by Krishna's arrangement that I am in this particular university. By Krishna's arrangement that I have these particular interests or talents. And then let me use them in a mood of service to Krishna. So, this vision of love ultimately is that, say, I am here, and you could say Krishna is here. So, what we are, that is God's gift to us. So, I have certain interests, I have certain abilities, I have certain talents. That is God's gift to me. Or you can say what we are, or you put what we have. What we have, it could be in terms of our talents, our abilities, our connections. What we have, that is God's gift to us. And then, if this is me, this is Krishna. And then, what we do with what we have. What we do with what we have, that is our gift to Krishna. Krishna has given us some gifts and we give a gift to Krishna. So, each one of us, we have potentials. Arjuna had a gift for archery. And what did he do? He practiced his archery diligently. And he became an excellent archer, and then he used that in the service of Krishna. So with this understanding, our entire life becomes a reciprocation of love with Krishna. What we have is God's gift to us. Now we may say, oh, I don't have this, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not fair enough, I'm not bright enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not fluent enough. We can look up many things that we don't have. But that is simply like a child looking at all the things that the parent has not given them. We have all been given some things. We look at what we have, that is God's gift to us. And then what we do with what we have, that is our gift to God. And this is what Krishna tells Arjuna. That don't just get caught in, this is my Kula Dharma, this is my Kshatriya Dharma. See that ultimately the situation you are in, it is by my arrangement. And act in the mood of service too. And then to that arrangement, Krishna even showed Arjuna his universal form. And that universal form was such that Arjuna saw it and he was just stunned to see it. You know, when we see something far bigger than ourselves, there is awe. You heard of this word called awe? And there are two words. There is awesome. Now, awesome is a very common teenager word. The food is awesome. That movie was awesome. The party was awesome. That mountain trek was awesome. Now, everything is awesome except your vocabulary. That's not awesome. You're just using the same word again and again and again. But awesome is generally used in the sense of something wonderful. But awe can also have another meaning. You can use it awful. One time I gave a class, and after that one boy came with a big smile on his face. He says, Prabhu, your class was awful. I looked at him, what happened? And he was smiling. I was wondering, is he being sarcastic? Is he being funny? So your class was awful. Okay, what happened? Then when I tried to understand, he was just learning English and he wanted to say awesome and he ended up saying awful. So, now awful means like dreadful. The two are opposite meanings, isn't it? So now Krishna wanted to show Arjuna that don't think that I am just one person standing next to you on this chariot or sitting next to you in the chariot. Krishna wanted to tell Arjuna that he showed his universal form. He showed how he pervaded all of existence. Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami vishveshwara vishwarupa. He saw that there's no beginning, there is no end. What is going on? This is the universal form. And when he saw that universal form, he felt it was awesome. But then Krishna also showed Arjuna something, that not only is this form spread all across, but he said this form also has a plan for the world. And he showed him how all the warriors in the battlefield, they're going to be destroyed. They were going to be killed. And that Vishwarup was going to do that. And that's when Krishna said, Kalosmi lokakshay krit pravadho. Time I am the destroyer of the worlds. And when Arjuna heard this, he was shaken. Now recently this movie came out, Oppenheimer. And it's become quite popular. And in that movie, the scientist Oppenheimer, when he first they tested the atom bomb in the New Mexico desert. It's called the Trinity test. So at that time, when he saw that scary, unnerving, unbelievable power of the atom bomb, he quoted this verse. Death I have become, the destroyer of the worlds. The idea was he was trying to make sense of what is this enormous destruction. So, Krishna showed Arjuna the universal form, and therefore Arjuna understood. This Krishna is not just another ordinary person. Of course, Krishna had spoken the wisdom, he had understood it. But Krishna also gave Arjuna a demonstration. And with that demonstration, Arjuna now became clear. He says, Karishye vachanam tava. I will do your will. So Krishna, I said, when somebody is confused, when somebody is lost, what they love is expressed through guidance. Now the guidance came in two ways. For him, the guidance was through education and the guidance was through demonstration. Through education and through demonstration. So education was the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Demonstration was the showing of the universal form. Now interestingly, in one sense, Krishna did the same for Duryodhana also. Now when Duryodhana was not ready to settle for peace, Krishna himself went as the peace messenger. Now this, from a symbolic perspective, this is a very serious thing. Say in the past, in Doklam, there's a standoff between India and China. And then there's a standoff, then maybe the Indian defense minister or some Indian general will talk with the Chinese general. Like right now there's a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. So now imagine the Ukrainian president goes directly to Russia to talk about peace. That means that actually they're very, very serious. Otherwise you won't send the top person. Generally when we say Shanti Doot, normally the top person doesn't go as a messenger. Now Krishna was the top person. So when he went as a messenger, that indicates that it's something very important. Like suppose, if there is a marriage in a family, and then sometimes people want to invite. Some people just send an invitation by post. Nowadays they don't even send by post, they just send by WhatsApp. There's an invitation, please come for marriage. But suppose they send a family member comes personally, please come and invite. Or if not his family member, maybe the senior most member of the family comes. Please come for this wedding. Who is coming with this invitation, that it is very serious. So Krishna going was very serious. And then Krishna also spoke wisdom to Duryodhana, that there's no need for fight. Krishna used Sam, Dam, Bhed, Danda to try to explain to Duryodhana. But Duryodhana was just not ready to listen. And then finally when Duryodhana rejected the peace proposal, what did he say? Does anyone remember? What did he say when he said rejected the peace proposal? Yeah? Yes, I will not give enough land to put even the tip of a needle through. Now if that had been the age of social media, this could have become a viral Insta reel. Kya dialogue hai? Now, if you consider in context, what is the meaning? Say suppose there is some program in our house and we invite somebody for the program. And that person doesn't want to come. So they make an excuse. Now they are making an excuse we know that they are making an excuse, and they know that we know that they are making an excuse. But at least, out of politeness, they're trying to make an excuse. But suppose they say, even if I die, my dead body will never come for your program. Now that is not just a refusal of the invitation. That is like a kick in the face of the inviter. And that was what Duryodhana did. When he said, I will not give enough land to put even the tip of a needle through. So when this happened, what it meant was, at one level, Krishna was insulted. But that was not all. After that, Duryodhana tried to do something worse. What was that? He tried to arrest Krishna. Now, of course, he did not succeed. And Krishna showed his universal form once again. But for Arjuna, he already knew Krishna was God. And Arjuna's reverence increased all the more on seeing the universal form. But Duryodhana didn't accept Krishna to be God. And then Krishna showed the universal form. Duryodhana was baffled. But then Duryodhana said, this Keshav just did some magic trick. And he didn't accept it. It's like for some people, if they are convinced about something, then they will just not change their conviction at all. No matter what happens. Many of you know that story of an anti-alcohol campaigner. This person gave a very fiery speech about how dangerous alcoholism is. And then he said, I'll demonstrate to you. So he had a small glass of alcohol. He opened a dibby, a box, and he had a small insect in that dibby, and he just threw that into the glass of alcohol. And that insect fluttered and just sank down, dead. And then he looked at all the people. So what do you learn from this? And all the alcoholics were looking down. And one alcoholic was very cheerful. So what do you learn from it? His hand was raised. What do you learn from it? When we drink alcohol, all the germs and worms in our stomach will die. So, actually, this is, has any of you heard this word rationalize? Rationalize, what does it mean? Sorry? Justify, yes. That means to give a more acceptable reason for a less acceptable action. Say, if a husband has promised his wife that I will not smoke anymore, and then the wife comes into the room and she can see the smoke of a cigarette is there. So, why are you smoking? Actually, the room was very cold. I wanted to make it warm for you. So when we rationalize, what happens is we tell rational lies. We use our intelligence to tell lies. So this is what Duryodhana did. Krishna spoke wisdom to him. Krishna even demonstrated his universal form. But still, Duryodhana just didn't understand. He didn't accept. He says, oh, Keshav just showed some magic and he baffled us. But he said, all his magic will not help us in the war. There I will win. So now, Krishna expressed his love for Arjuna by speaking the Bhagavad Gita to him and by showing the universal form to him. Krishna expressed his love for Duryodhana also. Now you could say it's not love, but at least it's kindness. He says, sometimes, now, if some people are very angry and hateful, it's very difficult to love them. But still you can be kind to them. Krishna expresses kindness, his compassion, his benevolence towards Duryodhana also. But the difference was, Duryodhana rejected it. So, what the Gita demonstrates is, that's not just the wisdom of the Gita, that actually it shows that Krishna, in one sense, if we consider Krishna is at the center, Krishna loves everyone. If you see around Krishna, Maybe there are his pure devotees. There are the gopis of Vrindavan, there are great saintly devotees. Then around that there is another circle where there are his practicing devotees. Those are practicing to become devotees. Then beyond that, there are people who are virtuous. They are good people. Krishna says they are also udara. They are nice people. He says sukritana. They are good people. So Krishna loves them also. And then we could say there are materialistic people. And then beyond that, there are atheistic people. There are atheists. Now Krishna, he says he is Bhakta Vatsala. He is the lover of his devotees. But Krishna also says he is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the well-wisher of everyone. Krishna was the well-wisher even of Duryodhan. Now the problem was that Duryodhan, if you consider Duryodhan, is over here. Now Krishna is here. Krishna loves even Duryodhan. That is the nature of Krishna's love. But Duryodhan is going away from Krishna. He is not going toward Krishna. I often give a class. The title is God does not believe in atheists. Something is wrong here. What do we normally say? Yeah, atheists don't believe in God and God returns the favor. Now what does that mean? That actually, if we consider, everybody is a soul. The soul has a mind around it. Around the mind there is a body. So we have the soul, mind, and then body. Now atheism is just a conception in the mind. I don't believe in God. That's atheism. But if we consider Krishna is above everyone, from Krishna's perspective, Krishna sees beyond the atheism to the soul. That means, Krishna says, I don't care for your atheism. I still know that you are a soul. You are my part. And I still care for you. I love you. Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. I am in the hearts of everyone. So Krishna cares for everyone. Krishna loves everyone. But those people may not reciprocate back. So what the Gita is telling us is that God loves each one of us. Krishna is telling Arjuna that I love you, I love Bhishma, I love Duryodhana also. But how are they reciprocating is different. It's up to you. I have revealed the knowledge of my love to you. Will you reciprocate? So we all may have some conditionings. Now are we like Arjuna? Are we like Duryodhana? We could say there is a part of us which is like Arjuna and there is a part of us which may be like Duryodhana. But Krishna still loves us. And Krishna wants us to become more and more like Arjuna. So in whichever circle we are in, now Krishna wants us to come closer and closer to him. And the Bhagavad Gita is an invitation from Krishna. Please come. I love you. Please love me back. Turn toward me. Offer your love to me. And in that way, you can become united with me. You can become liberated from the illusions of the world. And you can ultimately attain me. So the Gita says ultimately, there are many realities. This world is a reality. The country is a reality. The family is a reality. There are many realities in the world. But the ultimate reality is Krishna's love. Tomorrow, our job may go away, our family may go away, our country may get destroyed, even the world may get destroyed, but God's love for us will never be destroyed. So, God's love is the ultimate reality, and when we respond in a way to try to love Krishna, we practice bhakti, we chant Hare Krishna, we connect with Krishna through service, then we move towards higher reality. We may have some bad habits right now. We may have some unhealthy behaviors which we are not able to give up. They are reality, but they are all temporary reality. If we try to connect with Krishna, if we try to serve Krishna, we will move toward that higher reality. And in that higher reality, we find the highest happiness. That is ultimately the message of the Bhagavad Gita. That we enter into that world of Krishna's love and therein find the highest happiness. So I'll summarize what I spoke today and then we can have a few questions. We discussed about what is the essence of the Gita. And many of you, all of you gave very good points, and I took it from the perspective of the Gita's essence is that when somebody is lost, to give them guidance is an expression of love. But the Gita is Krishna's expression of love for Arjuna by providing him guidance. That was elaborately described as the first part. And then Krishna's love, he's showing it through two things. The guidance he's giving through both description and demonstration. Both. And he speaks the message of the Bhagavad Gita where we discussed elaborately about this concept of dharma. You remember this? We all belong to different wholes. And all these wholes are important. But the ultimate whole we belong to is Krishna. So we are all meant to connect with that ultimate whole. We respect the immediate whole. In this connection we discuss how there is looking only at the immediate, looking only at the ultimate. Both are unsustainable. We look at the immediate in a way that it points to the ultimate. That means Krishna tells Arjuna that you are an archer, that you don't see this just I have to fight against my relatives, I have to do this, I have to do that. See that here in one sense we discussed what we are is God's gift to us. And what we have is God's gift to us. What we do with what we have is our gift to God. So we all, from wherever we have an opportunity to enter into a life of love with Krishna. And then the next point I discussed was about how Krishna was even Duryodhan's well-wisher. So Krishna was Duryodhan's well-wisher, but Duryodhan rejected Krishna. He insulted Krishna. Now Krishna could have just destroyed him at that time, but Krishna did not do that. Krishna is the well-wisher of everyone. We discussed, so this was from the point of view of our dharma, how we belong to various circles. But then in this connection, we discussed how if Krishna is at the center, around Krishna, there are many circles. There is a circle of his pure devotee, there is a circle of his devotees, there is a circle of dharmic people. Like that, even atheists are in one circle. So everybody is in Krishna's circle of love. But the key is, do we go toward Krishna or do we go away from Krishna? The Gita's call is, go to Krishna. So we go to Krishna by practicing bhakti, and thus we realize that Krishna's love is the ultimate reality. To the extent we live in that reality, our life also becomes more and more real. It becomes filled with more and more happiness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments? Do we have time for questions? Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, you can speak. I'll repeat the question. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is some worms which were extinct, they have been brought back to life. Okay. Yeah. Good question. So if some species which seems to have been extinct or which were frozen for a long time and now they are brought back to life. So is this a step to immortality? Well, not exactly. This is a little technical question and I'll try to answer as simply as I can. See, basically, there is matter. And matter, say for example, I have this pencil or there is a stool. Now, matter basically goes through three stages in its existence. There is creation, then there is deterioration, and after that there is destruction. That is all that happens. The table is existing, the stool is there, after that it will get damaged, then it will get destroyed. But as contrasted with that, there is life. With life, there are actually three more stages. From birth, there is growth. Now, we can have a very sophisticated computer, but no matter how sophisticated computer is, that computer doesn't grow, isn't it? It doesn't grow. Then there is reproduction. No computer, and there's no male computer and a female computer unite and produce a baby computer. It doesn't happen. Reproduction. And then beyond that, there is maintenance. No, if my hand is cut, immediately clotting will happen, it will heal. If say this pencil is broken, the pencil is not going to heal itself. So it will stay cracked, maintenance. And then of course, after that, there is old age, which is deterioration. And then there is death. So now these three stages are extra. And where they are coming from, why they happen, that is a big mystery. Now there are scientists try to say that, biologists say that there are some genes which make it happen. But okay, what are genes? Genes are ultimately, they are atoms and molecules. They are fundamental particles. And those are present even in the stool. So why is it that some matter seems to exhibit these three extra changes and other matter doesn't? So that is because there is something else which is present within the matter. And that is consciousness, that is Atma. So when there is life, basically it's still matter, but within that matter, there is the soul. Sorry. Within the matter, there is the soul, and when the Atma is present, that is when that what we call as life manifests. So when scientists may say that, okay, we have brought something back to life, all that has happened is they have created a biological medium that is suitable for a soul to appear over there. Even in the natural process of reproduction. Now, the natural process of reproduction is the sperm comes from the man, and then there is the egg from the woman, and the two unite, and life is formed. That's the normal understanding. But there are so many people, there are couples who want to have a child, and they just can't have a child. You examine the man biologically, his sperms are fine. You examine the woman biologically, her eggs are fine. But still, nothing seems to be happening. So, the sperm and the egg coming together, they are important. They create a suitable biological medium. But the biological medium alone is not enough. In the biological medium, the soul has to come. Only when the soul comes, that's when life is possible. So now that suitable biological medium can be created naturally through natural processes of reproduction. Like say when a man and a woman unite. That biological medium can be created through some artificial medium. You can have what is called as test tube babies. Now there is a misnomer. It's not the baby grows inside the test tube. But it's just that you can create the biological medium artificially. But the point is not just creating the biological medium, explaining how does that biology manifest from physics and chemistry. How is it? It's not just making something happen, explaining why is it that some matter suddenly exhibits properties that are radically different from other matter. So, yes, scientists may be able to, as our technology advances, they may be able to create suitable biological mediums with greater and greater frequency, maybe greater and greater reliability. But the biological medium is not life. Even with the best biological medium, life may not manifest. And that is why the idea that this will lead to immortality. So we can create the biological medium, but still unless the spiritual spark comes over there, the biological medium will not manifest life. And the general understanding is that when the body becomes old and sick and then the person dies. But there are many times when a person dies and there is no biological cause of death. Just can't determine it. You do post-mortem also, you can't find out what exactly happened. So it is not just the biological medium that is important. Sometimes if by karma the soul is supposed to leave the body, normally the body gets damaged and then the soul leaves the body. But sometimes the body may be perfectly functional and still the soul leaves the body. So in one sense, biology is vital because that's the medium through which you act. But the biology does not explain how physics or how matter suddenly becomes alive. So these are simply more and more sophisticated ways of creating the biological medium. And the Bhagavad Gita says sarvagataha. The soul is capable of being present everywhere. So wherever there is a biological medium, the soul can manifest. But the life is not coming from the biological medium, it is manifesting through it. It's like you can have a very good radio, but the radio is not producing the sound. The radio is a receptor. And when some other station is broadcasting something, then through that radio it comes up. So the biological medium is not the source of life. It is a passageway. It is a tool for life. Okay? Thank you. Any other questions? Even when we are following dharma, bad things happen. How do we see it as Krishna's love? Well, it's not that bad things happening are Krishna's love. It is how we get the resources to face those bad things. That is Krishna's love. See, the world is a place where things follow their own pattern. So, God is the supreme controller. He is not the sole controller. There's a difference between the two. God is what? Krishna is supreme. Supreme means what? There are many controllers, but Krishna is the topmost. He's the supreme controller. He is not the sole controller. What is the difference between the two of these? See, when Draupadi was being dishonored, did Krishna want Draupadi to be dishonored? No. The Dushasana wanted that, Duryodhana wanted that. Now, Dushasana and Duryodhana, by their past life, they had some karma by which they were born as powerful princes. And they had some kshetra. They had some area of influence. And in that area of influence, what they want to do, they can do. But when they do it, that is not God doing. That is God allowing that to happen. That means, Say if somebody has a lot of money from the past, maybe they inherited money or they worked a lot hard and they got some money. Now they can waste the money however they want. The government is not going to stop them. But once they run out of their money, if they still try to spend, then the credit card will be refused. They will not be able to spend anymore. So like that, when somebody has some influence from the past, see every one of us, if we can consider I'm here, each one of us has a kshetra. Kshetra is the sphere of influence that we have. Say if I get angry, I might just yell at someone. But say if the president of America gets angry, can just press one button and nuke an entire country. Isn't it? That person's kshetra is much bigger. But that person is the president for 4 years. After the tenure gets over, the former president of America is now on the verge of being arrested. So once your tenure is over, then you have no kshetra, or your kshetra becomes much lesser. So the idea is that when a person has a particular kshetra, they have a particular area of influence, within that they can do bad things. So sometimes good people may also suffer if they happen to be in the kshetra of a bad person. So Draupadi happened to be in the kshetra of Duryodhana and Dushasana. That's why she suffered. So it was not that God's love because of which it happened to her. What was God's love was that Krishna helped her. Now the miracle was not just that Krishna extended her cloth. Definitely that's a miracle. But the miracle was also that even in that situation, she didn't lose faith in Krishna. She called out to Krishna. So God does not promise, if you consider in the Bhagavad Gita, what is Krishna's promise? Krishna's promise is not that we will have a stormless sea. That you just practice my bhakti, you will have no problems in your life. This is lollipop philosophy, you know. You just worship God, life will be filled with eating lollipops. It's not like that. What Krishna does promise us is an unsinkable ship. An unsinkable ship means that we will face problems, but if we hold on to Krishna, we will find that we will be able to deal with the problems. That we may have to live with pain, but we don't have to live in pain. The pain will be there, but we will be able to rise above it. So that's where we see Krishna's love, not in the bad thing happening, but we see Krishna's love in the wisdom, the resources, the ways we get to deal with the bad things. And by that we grow, we become better. So all of us, if you consider, so now you'll have to imagine I'm a good drawer. So imagine this is some kind of a bird. This is a baby bird, and the baby bird is inside a shell. Now when the baby bird is inside a shell, it wants to come out. And the baby's bird is, I just want to break out of the shell. But the shell is tight and the shell is sharp. And the baby bird pushes, and maybe one of its wings comes out, and the shell snaps back again. And the baby bird, it's pierced, it's cut. And again it pushes, again it snaps back. Maybe one leg comes out, again it's cut. Now it's pushing and pushing and pushing. And she could say that the baby bird could think, why is this shell so thick and so sharp? We just break it and it could come out. Now, the baby bird's purpose is, I just want to come out. But God has a bigger purpose for the baby bird. God's purpose is not just that the baby bird come out of the shell, but that the baby bird be strong enough to fly in the sky. And therefore, what happens is, although the baby bird is suffering, at that time, through that suffering, it is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually when it comes out, it is capable of flying. So for all of us, when something bad happens, it's like we are in a shell, we're trying to come out, and we feel more and more hurt when we are trying to come out. But God has a bigger plan for us. Our thing may be, why is this bad thing happening? Let this bad thing go away. God's plan is not just that this bad thing go away, but in facing this bad thing, we become stronger, we become wiser. And that is his plan, which is because it comes from his bigger picture. So we need to see that bigger picture. I'll conclude with one point. See, if this is the present and this is the future. See, this is the human plan. This is our plan. We look at the present and we plan the future. Okay, I'm here and I want to go there. I give this exam and I want to go into this college. I give this exam, I want to get that job. That's our plan. We look at the present and plan the future. But God looks at the future and he plans the present. His vision is different. This is God's plan. That means God doesn't just want us to get the immediate success. God wants us to become bigger. God wants us to become better. Like the baby bird's plan is, I want to just get out the shell. But God's plan is, I want you to fly in the sky. So therefore, if we understand that God's plan is bigger and better for us, then even if something bad happens to us, it's not that the bad happening is God's love, but the process that we follow to face that bad thing, the growth that we experience through that thing, that is God's love. And the bigger and better place that we go to, that is God's love. Okay? Thank you. Any last question before we stop?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, how to balance fantastically between immediate and ultimate?
How to balance between the immediate and the ultimate?
Yeah.
That's why we need guidance. The spiritual path is a path of guidance. That's why there is a guru. No. We all, the spiritual traditions across the world, they say we all need mentorship, we all need guidance. Saying one who is his own guru has a fool as a disciple. So, we need to take guidance from those who are gone on the spiritual path. We talk with them, we understand from them, and then we arrive at a balance. Balance is not like one formula. It's not that one formula, morning I'll do this, afternoon I'll do this, evening I'll do this. Yes, we can have a broad structure for our life, but over a period of time, we have to be flexible. If you understand the purpose of our life, say if I'm driving a cycle, now normally the balanced state of the cycle is the vertical state. But say if I have to turn right, and the balanced state of the circle is slightly tilted right. But if I stay tilted right, I'll just go round and come back to the same place. Isn't it? I turn right and then I again become straight. Then I go this way. Then I turn left and then I go this way. So in our life, there are times when we may need to focus more on the immediate. Say for example, if we are studying and we have an exam coming up. At that time, we focus more on the immediate. If we are working and we have a project deadline, if we are in a family and there's a family emergency, we focus on the immediate. Now, if there's a festival like Janmashtami, if we are going for a yatra to a holy place, if there's some senior devotee visiting and there are lots of programs, there's some special occasions, that time we focus more on the ultimate. But the idea is that it is not that the immediate and ultimate have to be in competition. If we understand that Krishna wants us to serve in both ways, the key is to have a service attitude. Through the immediate also we are serving Krishna, through the ultimate also we are serving Krishna. If we have that seva bhav, then Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give you the intelligence by which you can come to me. Okay? So thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Itai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are very grateful to Prabhuji for giving his time for all the devotees, and we'll We'll like to thank Prabhuji by once chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Prabhuji has two classes tomorrow also. One is Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is at 8 o'clock tomorrow in the temple hall. And second class is at 10 o'clock in same hall. And the topic is how Gita helps us to improve relationships. Also, we have, as I was telling, Prabhuji has 27 books he has written, and all the books are available here. And Prabhuji has agreed that he will, if any devotees who wish to take the books, they can come with the book. The stall is there at the back side. Can take the book and come for Prabhuji's. Prabhuji will give an autograph. So there are many books written by Prabhuji. Achha. So there is a book called Relishing Bhagavad Gita. This is a Gita series.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So much of what I spoke today is from this book, Relishing Bhagavad Gita. 100 articles in this book. Each article is just 2 pages. And this approaches the Gita from a relational perspective. Gita is not just a book of philosophy, but an expression of Krishna's love for Arjuna. The Gita is how they are related with the stories from the Mahabharata, the incidents from Krishna and Arjuna's life together. This is the Gita from a rational perspective. When you read the Bhagavad Gita, you get a question: if God controls everything, do we really have free will? Gita tells us to be detached, won't that make us irresponsible? So again, 100 articles explained from the perspective of rationality. So this follows the mood of Baldev Vidyabhushan, one of the Gita commentators explaining. This follows the mood of Vishwanath Chakravarti. There are a few other books on this explained. So this is the Gita from an applicational perspective. How to deal with temptations, how to be more sensitive in our speech, how to face adversities. There are articles like that on each of these topics. Each article is just one page. There are 365 articles. The table of content itself is around 30-40 pages. So you can just choose whichever article interests you in. This is the Gita from a psychological perspective. You are not your mind, you are better. This talks about 64 articles based on verses on the Gita which live in the mind. It practically explains how various problems we face with the mind can be dealt with by Gita. And then the calendar, this is the Gita from an inspirational perspective. There are 365 quotes inspired by the Bhagavad Gita. Be mindful or your mind will make you a fool. Mind your own mind before you mind other people's minds. So each of